First time around the volume wasn't working, so hopefully this time it is. I'm waiting to see. Seems like the volume is working this time. All right. Shooting the Breeze. Episode number 36. It is very funny because last year during the playoffs, I did not make a video during the second round. A Shooting the Breeze video during the second round, talk about the second round. That was on some extreme hater stuff because, of course, I'm a Grizzlies fan. We got eliminated in the first round. I did not have a lot of fun watching the second round, and I'm trying to think. Like, the Celtics and Sixers series was decent, but all the rest of them, I had a hard time enjoying. This time around, somewhat similar, but at least the series were better. But as always, I'm more than likely going to be on some hater stuff. So a lot of the things that I say in this video might come off as me hating or just being bitter. And I'll go ahead and admit that. But I'm going to try my best not to. So there's that. But before we get really in depth with this, a lot of this video is probably going to be me talking about the eliminated teams and not the teams that are left, because I feel there's a lot more discussion in that. And when it comes to the conference finals matchups, one of them, there's not really much to discuss. The other one is a coin flip. I feel that's the best way to describe it. Before we get in depth with all of that, the last Shooting the Breeze episode, I did a MyTeam update. There's a lot of chaos and craziness that happened in that. So we're going to do another one right here because we're in the start of Season 7. Season 7 started the other last Friday. So here is my main team that I use. This is a free Nikola Jokic card that I'm waiting until this Friday, because every Friday is obviously when they do the new pack drop. Whatever, like, I like Jokic and whatnot, but I need a defensive center. I'm more than likely going to get the Galaxy Opal Dwight Howard, but I'm waiting with that. I will say this is a somewhat decent squad. I also need to see what the free Galaxy Opal is going to be this week. So here's my main one. The main reason I'm on this team, though, is to show y'all my jerseys. So last time around, we had the X-Men jerseys. Last week, I never made a video talking about it. The jerseys were ECW themed. They were just essentially black, white, and purple. This time around, very, very generic, but the court is a lot better. But it's CM Punk Money in the Bank 2011 themed. Now, I tried my best to make this red, white, and blue, and the blue didn't show up very well in the jersey. And so my thought process with this is, again, I overthink things a lot. So my thought process is, this is the shirt. This is the iconic shirt with the fist and the stars. It says best of the world on the back. So the jerseys are based on the shirt. Like I said, very simple, very generic. But the arena court is based on the trunks. And I like this. I love this court. It's my favorite court I think I've done so far. Because I won't lie, the X-Men court kind of looked very McDonald's-esque. The ECW court, the middle of this court was like teal, like the rings were, and then it was black and teal. So it wasn't that crazy, but I just really like this court. It also reminds me of the retro Nets court. So you can also see the ads back there of things that I use a lot. So, and you can also see it says best in the world. So there's that. Just wanted to show y'all that. Now, this is my Clutch Time team. I've not played a lot of Clutch Time this season. I love this Time Lord card. I've not played a lot of Clutch Time because last week I played a crap ton trying to get to the like level 100 type of thing. Here is my triple threat team. I've been playing a lot of triple threat. It's just the easy game mode. Very Heat is obviously a Heat-centric team. And then this is a special. This is cards that I really enjoyed using, but they're a little bit outdated, I don't think is the proper word, but I have high-rated cards, so here's this team. That's why they're titled the OGs. And then this team will be the one that I use in this video in the triple threat games. I've yet to use this Stephen Curry card. I don't even remember getting it, to be honest. Hassan Whiteside, very fun card to use. Mikal Bridges, I'm used to. It is the most versatile defender that I have. So let's get into some triple threat action. So we're actually going to start off with the conference finals discussion. So it starts tonight, which is actually, again, pretty crazy. And I'm pretty sure I need to stop doing this, actually, where I'm like, I don't remember crap. But I'm pretty sure I looked at the schedule. And we got games, hypothetically, every other night now, which is a decent thing. You know, we got a lot of free time now, instead of having to worry about back-to-back games on the same day. The Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers. Shout out to the Pacers. I'm very happy for them because, and again, I said I was going to be on some hater stuff, but I'm giving credit to where it's due with these conference finals teams. But with the Pacers, they made a big move in getting Pascal Siakam, who's on an expiring contract, but everything seems like especially now, going to the damn conference finals, he should come back, obviously. And you wouldn't really expect them to be in the conference finals, but they are. I love Halliburton. He's one of my favorite players. Incredible. And then it just, the second half of the season hasn't been this way. And you can even say that during the playoffs. It's been very similar. Oh, no. I just saw a green screen, but it's not like that now. So, good on Indiana. It's also been weird because their last two playoff appearances were with injury-riddled teams, and they ended up getting swept. So they made their return to the playoffs. Granted, I think the only players that were on those teams that are still there are Miles Turner and TJ. I know TJ McConnell wasn't on the team that faced the Celtics, which is also pretty funny because I didn't even plan on mentioning that. But they have Celtics. And again, that Celtics team, I'm pretty sure the only people that are still left are there: Al Horford, Jaylen Brown, and Tatum. But I'm trying to give credit to the Pacers. So there's that. I'm glad. It's good that they're here because you didn't really expect it. So there's that. Well, Boston. There's a lot of words you could describe this playoff run as. I'm seeing way too many people try to say this is the easiest path to a finals ever. You know, I'm not really going to say that because I'd have to literally look at everyone, and I have yet to do that. But to be honest, when you're the number one seed, so many games in front of everybody, you're supposed to have this freaking advantage. And every team now is dealing with injury or just fatigue. And so you can look at it from both of these sides where the Pacers face the Bucks without Giannis and Dame for a handful of games. Then the Knicks with literally 6-ish, probably more players injured. And then in case of the Celtics, they face the Heat without Jimmy. And then the Cavs without Jared Allen, and then Donovan Mitchell. So, but what I'm trying to get at is everybody's like, this has been a fluke. It's like this in the playoffs every freaking year. It literally is. If y'all want to look at it from that perspective, y'all freaking can. I try my best not to. What I'm trying to get at with the Celtics is way too many people are trying to say, oh, this is such an easy path for them. But, A, that's how it's supposed to be. I will say, though, it has been a very boring path because their first two series were virtually identical. And so it's been a little bit boring where I'm going to hope it's the conference finals. I would hope that it's not that case. But this is what concerns me about the Pacers. Because like I said, the Pacers would. I would be shocked. And again, I think chaos would erupt with the Celtics because they made two all-in moves this offseason, and to fall short in the conference finals again, you would be disappointed. Like, you'd have to be disappointed, and especially with how you looked at the first two rounds. So, I will say I'm rooting for the Pacers if the Celtics win. I'm not going to cry about it because I like Tatum and whatnot. But again, the Pacers had a lot of trouble with an injury-riddled Knicks team. So and the Celtics are the best defensive team in the East, or in the Eastern playoffs. So I am anticipating the Celtics to win. I'd love it if the Pacers win. That's the best way I could describe that series. Now, Western Conference. Again, this is some extreme hater stuff. Because the first round, I was rooting for the Clippers because Russell Westbrook. I had a lot of players there I wanted to win. And so I was having to root against the Mavericks and all that crap. So it was a little bit hard seeing them win. And then this last round, they went against the Thunder. And it's a very entertaining series that I will admit I was missing a handful of the games. So I can't really describe it that much. But good on them, again, for making it there because they made a aggressive move last deadline, and then they had a great trade deadline this year. So, again, it's great to see immediate dividends play off for that. So, kudos to that. Minnesota. This is where the hater stuff comes. I'm just seeing so many people kiss ass and hype up Anthony Edwards, and it slightly bothers me. It slightly bothers me. I like Ant, but I'm just not going to tweet. Anytime he does anything in a game, I just see a collection of tweets from certain areas, and I don't want to see it constantly. So there's that. I don't really hate him, but when you see so much of something over and over again, it does get a little bit bothering. But again, this is the last time I have to say it. Kudos to the Timberwolves because they made probably the most aggressive move out of all four of these teams. That Rudy Gobert trade that they were slandered for over and over again. And now they are in the conference finals. So you could say somewhat that it worked out. And if they made the finals, that would be a little bit crazier. I, again, would like it if the Mavericks won because if you watch my what was that video? My awards reaction video. And I was talking about comeback player of the year. And I gave it to Kyrie Irving. What did I call it? The John Moran Award. I gave it to Kyrie Irving because he's been through so much since and even you could lean back to the Boston tenure, but like the Nets tenure was just so much of him not playing basketball. And now this Mavericks tenure and him with the Mavericks has been him playing basketball and it being done beautifully and well done. And he just seems so freaking happy that I would hope, and there's a lot of players like the Mavericks I do like. I was just very upset because I like the Clippers players a lot more and I wanted them to win. So I don't really have any problems with the Mavericks, but there's that. What am I trying to get at? So, prediction-wise, like I said, I think it is a coin flip. Like I said, I would want the Mavericks to win. But almost everything that I'm going to say is going to support me thinking the Timberwolves would win because they're the better defensive team. But my thought process in picking the Mavericks is mainly in the playoffs. We haven't seen Luka and Kyrie go off at the same time. It's been one or the other. And I feel that's kind of how the Timberwolves I don't know if they're going to be able to slow down both successfully. Granted, if Dallas was able to come out and get both of them going, and then you get some P.J. Washington corner threes, easy dunks for Gafford and Lively, and then Derrick Jones makes his threes like he was making in the first round. Like I said, it'd be a lot easier towards Dallas. But I just feel that Minnesota is so good defensively. And again, I don't think that Dallas is going to be able to guard Ant and Cat. Because, again, that's how this playoffs has mainly went, mainly last round. So it's a coin flip because I just feel it's very even, but the defensive side of things benefit Minnesota a lot more. Offensively, somewhat even, but if I had to choose, I would choose Dallas. So it would be an interesting series to say the least. I want the Mavericks to win, so I'm gonna in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter who wins to me. So I'm gonna go. I saw that he had a 75-3, and I was like, I want to try it, and I tried the most horrendous shot attempt. So there's that. So I'm gonna pick Dallas. So these conference finals shall be very, very interesting. I also should have said this in the beginning of this video. I knew I was forgetting something to say. I'm trying to make a video every day this week. So this is video number 2. Now, the first video was Stadium Stampede, which I had filmed last Friday. So you shall be seeing a lot of me this week. So if this is a shorter shooting the breeze, that is why, because I make a lot of videos. I just left that open dunks, though. I could get this, write something down. But now, talking about the eliminated teams, because like I said, I think there's a lot of discussion to be had with all four, mainly the Eastern Conference teams. Now, it comes to the Thunder. It was literally a lot of their players' first times in the playoffs. So it would have been extremely difficult for them to win this series or win the finals. And it's just they learned a lot of mistakes, or they're gonna learn from their mistakes more than likely. So, and it's very much a lot of their mistakes and things that happened, like blowing the lead in Game 6. That's going to bother the hell out of them, because then they could have been in a Game 7 where they're also at home. It's 50-50. You don't know what the hell to expect. But that's probably going to bother them a lot this offseason. But again, they're going to learn from their mistakes, and they know. And again, if you watch my awards video, my THT award winner was on the Thunder, and he did not play a lot in these playoffs, or in the second round, I should say. So they know where they can improve from, and they have a lot of ways to improve. I'm not going to suggest any, so there's that. So there's that for OKC. Now, when it comes to the other Western Conference team, the Denver Nuggets, I will say, I'm wearing a Nuggets jersey now. I'm not going to say I jinxed them. This is a little sidebar. This is going to be an extremely, extremely, extremely weird thing that I'm saying. But if you watch my ROH review from last week, I was wearing a blue and green champion shirt. And normally, I wear my Minnesota Timberwolves hat with that, because my Minnesota Timberwolves hat is a retro hat, is blue-green as well. But I didn't want it to seem like I was rooting for the Timberwolves, so I'm like, you know what? If they lose tonight, I'll end up wearing the hat. This is the day that I was thinking of. This was Game 6 day. They freaking smoke the freaking Nuggets. Now, that was only one game, so I'm not even saying that. So that's why I'm wearing Nuggets jerseys here, is because now that they're eliminated, it doesn't make me seem like I'm rooting for the Nuggets, even though I was. And this is kind of the opposite of a hater take, but I was low-key rooting for the Nuggets to win for a take standpoint. And last year, when they won the championship, it seemed like that night, it was a Monday night, we were like giving them credit. The Tuesday, we were giving them credit. Then it just seemed like we did not care, because like free agency of the draft like happened extremely soon after that. I should also look at into when free agency of the draft happened, but I'm just gonna let it like pop up and surprise me. But it's like was fairly quick that happened. So it just seemed like the Nuggets won the title, and like Jokic did not really care. And that was like kind of the whole like big hoopla, like, oh, Jokic doesn't really care, he won the championship, etc. But it's just like, I like that. I really did. They won. We didn't care. We celebrated for a minute. Move on with it. Move on from it. For my hater take, move on with it. And I thought the same thing was going to happen this year. I really did. I am tired of getting these 3 freaking badge. I never use these freaking badges. Quit giving me them. I hate that. But again, like I said, I thought we were going to see a little bit of the same thing. Also, I don't remember what video I said it. And it's a little bit weird to say it now, but it kind of checks out. But I was essentially saying the Nuggets remind me of like the Tim Duncan era Spurs. Now, there's a lot of differences. Like the Spurs won a championship Tim Duncan's second year, where Jokic, I'm not going to do that math real quick, but you can tell they didn't win a championship. But my point is, they have their core. They have their main 3. Jokic, like Tim Duncan, for a period of time, was the best player in the world. I don't really know many people will say Jokic isn't the best player right now. Some will try to discredit and say that, but you can understand it. But they're the best player, and they never really seem to care. Like, on court, you can see it, just talking-wise, promotion-wise, and just everything off the court. It just seemed like, oh, I'm the best player. I don't really care. They probably wouldn't even say it either. you had the point guards, which I just thought this was Tony Parker, but that's Steve Blake. But Tony Parker, very similar to Jamal Murray, where in the playoffs they elevate their game and are a great number two to Jokic, to Duncan, but they will never probably get the credit of being the best point guard because Tony Parker is weird say that for Tony Parker because he actually did win a Finals MVP. Which one day Jamal Murray, you could have had that discussion, but he probably wasn't winning it. But you get the point I'm making, where they are guards that elevate their games in the playoffs, as I just clinked that off the backboard. But they're never really going to get the credit of being the best point guard. But my main take is, and this is what helps, is that the Spurs never repeated. And they only made it to one back-to-back finals once, and if you just listen to what I said, they didn't repeat. They went to the finals 2013, one of the best finals against the Heat. And then they won the next year. Or with the Nuggets, like I said, Spurs never made it to back-to-back, and where it gets weird is it kind of, we know what the Spurs became, and they ended up winning 5 championships in the Tim Duncan era and whatnot. But they're just going to be a consistently good team for however long. I don't know how long. Now, what I will say, and this is something that I was saying in my offseason, free agency reactions and predictions, is that they very much rewarded the team that in the group that helped them win the championship. Reggie Jackson, to an extent, DeAndre Jordan, and Jeff Green and Bruce Brown took the opportunity to go elsewhere. And I was just very concerned with them not really having a Bruce Brown replacement. And while they did give Christian Braun those minutes, he's still in his second year. And they didn't really look to get a Bruce Brown replacement. So hopefully this offseason, you can see that the main 5 will need help because they were freaking exhausted. They just came off going to the finals last year, and going back-to-back is going to be very freaking exhausted. I would have just imagined right now they are very freaking exhausted. But now they're going to have the time to rest, and maybe the front office will realize, let's get them as much, I'm not going to say as much help as they need, but a little bit more help. So that's going to be an interesting perspective to look at because I think the only person they signed was Justin Holiday, and then everybody else was draft picks. I hate shooting from that spot because I can never see the bar, but there's that. So there's the Western Conference. Now to the Eastern Conference, the New York Knicks, which again, Game 7, I messaged somebody this. I don't think I've ever seen a team lose and get so much freaking praise. And, like, they weren't saying anything about the freaking Pacers game. So they were up. They were more so hating. But you got to give credit to the Knicks because Randall was out, Bogdanovich was out, Mitchell Robinson was out, OG then became out. I'm probably going to forget somebody in the case of this. Josh Hart barely could play because of injury, and then Jalen Brunson went out. So just a lot, almost all of their guys were gone, and they're still in a 7-game series. And I'm not going to say it's very – there was a time where I thought, oh, my God, they're actually – because I thought if the Pacers blew that lead, which, again, it kind of makes me a little bit more difficult for me to pick them over the Celtics. But I'm like, if the Pacers blow this lead, the Knicks are going to win. I just very much thought that. And there was a short 2-minute span where I was thinking that. So now, here's where it gets weird. And I was thinking this before the playoffs even began. I didn't expect them to win. Where they knew going into these playoffs, they would be without Julius Randle. I'm not the biggest Julius Randle fan. I don't know many people that are. I think Knicks fans are okay with him because he's their guy and they root for him. That's how it should. Some Knicks fans root for him and are okay because he's on their team. But if you remember last year in the playoffs, they go crazy about anything. But the most hate went towards Randle, who was on their own team, like I'm saying. Or again, they were more so upset that he was gone because you never want to see a player injured. But it's like they're used to him being their number 2 guy and the guy that helps and scores for them and whatnot. But now, this year, They went to the second round last year, but they went to a 7-game series this year. So, thought process, and they just looked like a better team this year. That was without Randall. So my thought process going into these playoffs was this team is slightly better without Julius Randle. Are they going to make the conference finals or finals with or without? Don't really know. But that was kind of my thought process. And just seeing how they performed and how there's just so much attention towards them, you could slightly feel that. Essentially what I am trying to get at is that this team is better without Julius Randle. Now, where it gets difficult is I don't know many teams that would want Julius Randle on their team / mainly give up a lot. He's not unplayable. I'll say that. He's a 3-time All-Star now. He's a good player. But I feel the Knicks would be a better team without Randle. Also, something that I would be slightly concerned about is because we see with the Knicks, and kind of one of the main stories is that they were having to play, they were having to play a lot of freaking minutes. Where now, if you're to add back Julius Randle, Bogdanovich, and Mitchell Robinson, a lot of these guys that we were seeing play a lot of minutes for the Knicks next year, that means one to two of them are going to have to come off the bench. Are they going to be happy and satisfied with that? More than likely, probably, but, sometimes it's not like that. We're going to see this when we talk about the Cavs in a second. So, is there going to be a bit of a jealousy factor? I don't really know. Also, we saw so much of the Villanova trio, I try to call them core, play that I don't know. It's going to be difficult for them to do that again next year if they're adding people to the team. This is just a wait-and-see situation. So, moral of the story, I think the Knicks are better without Randle, but I don't know a scenario where they move on from Randle and they are I don't think successful is the right word, but better off, I guess, is probably the better way to describe that. Now, I did see a suggested trade. And it was Randle, Obi at the power forward position. Rebounding might be a little bit of a question, but it's just like, I really like that for defensive purposes. And him and Hart, you could debate which one was playing the small forward and power forward, but I would say the OG was probably playing power forward a little bit more. And that's kind of ended up the case why he had to move on for the Raptors, because they were having him at shoot guard, and they couldn't have him, Siakam, and Scottie be successful together. So, what I'm trying to get at with Paul George, because I never really even got to talk about the Clippers and when they were eliminated, so this is a slight discussion with that, is that the Clippers don't want to extend Paul George on a big-ass contract, was expected, which I don't know if the Knicks would be willing to do that as well, but the tweet, I hate that I don't remember who I saw tweet it, so if I find it, I'll put it in the comments, was essentially saying they were trying desperately to get Paul George in the draft last year. And the Clippers might be willing to make some change, a.k.a. move on from Paul George. But the main thing is this is kind of the whole take and thought process I've had with the Clippers. Is like they're finally moving on to a new arena, new building. They're going to have stars, 1 to 2 stars, playing. Because you can't rebuild or retool and then move on from a new building because ain't anybody going to want to go. So, Randle, you would be getting Randle back, who again, like I just said, is a 3-time All-Star. Bogdanovich potentially could help the bench. Draft picks, which if you know anything about this Paul George trade that happened from OKC, they gave up a lot of draft picks, so they could get some back. For the Knicks, you would have Brunson, DiVincenzo, Hart, or actually not even Hart, Paul George, Anunoby, Robinson, or Hartenstein, which, again, another thing is they're going to have to worry about bringing about OG and Hartenstein, which I'd imagine they're willing to pay them. So, this whole scenario I've just thrown out, I personally like it, but it might be a little bit unreasonable. But my thought process is like, are the Knicks better without Randle? You can be the judge. So, Last team to talk about, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were the first team eliminated in the second round, and chaos erupted after it. I'm going to say a little bit, not a lot. And you can even say it started during the freaking series when players started getting injured and couldn't even play. But, like, so many reports of, like, literally, the Cavs are unhappy with Jared Allen. You know, if y'all unhappy, y'all can have the 9th overall pick from my Memphis Grizzlies because we will 110%. I love Jared Allen. I love Jared Allen in freaking Brooklyn. And I don't ever really understand why the Rockets are like, yeah, we don't really want Jared Allen, so we'll trade him to the Cleveland. So, I love Jared Allen. Would love him on my Grizzlies. Darius Garland is reportedly unhappy. And I kind of went into the playoffs thinking that, because the whole season about the Cavaliers has essentially been, if Donovan Mitchell's unhappy, are they going to have to move on from him because he's not going to sign the extension, and then they can lose him for nothing? Which I hated that discussion because I don't know what teams will have cap space next season, because that's when that we'll have to have that discussion, really. Where now, it seems he would be willing to stay and willing to play there and potentially willing to do the extension. I don't really know what the hell these players think. The report said, like, Evan Mobley and his agent was like, yeah, don't draft me here in Cleveland. That is, like, a crazy-ass thing to hear after a playoff series in which he played very good in and is eligible to get an extension in the offseason. I think that was a crazy thing. But I'm also of the thought process of, you probably would have want to hear this stuff during the series because it's going to be a distraction, where now it's the offseason. You can tune out the noise, and because you don't really have anything in front of you at the moment. So it's probably a good thing that it was after the series that this happened, but it's also like, did it have to happen at all type of thing. Moral of the story, I was kind of going into this playoffs thinking Cavs are probably going to be willing to move Allen and Mitchell from the standpoint of Garland and Mobley are slightly younger and were drafted by Cleveland. So they're like Cleveland guys. Where with Allen and Mitchell are slightly older. Contracts are a bigger question, where with Garland, mainly Mobley, their contracts are more flexible and fitting their timeline. And again, like I said, are drafted by them. But now it kind of seems it's the opposite route. Or a little bit of the opposite route. That I was out of bounds. Where they're willing to move on from... And again, we don't really know this. I'm going in with the expectation that they run the same team back next year and just hoping that they're all healthy to make it out of the second round. That's my anticipation. From the NBA world, I would feel that everybody would be wanting them to make a move, but I don't see that being the case. What I'm trying to get at, though, what am I trying to get at? I don't know. I gotta say what I said. I don't see them making a move. I thought I blocked that. That I don't understand why this like chaos and everything erupted. You know, they did better this year than they did last year, but they want more. I can understand that. But we saw so much reported that I don't see anything really changing. But if they did, it should be Jared Allen to the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, the last thing to talk about with them, because it became abundant during this series, and at some point soon we're going to have this discussion of LeBron James. And I definitely feel like I've talked about this in a video. But essentially, what I'll say is, because the whole thing with LeBron is that I asked was, does he want money or does he want another championship? LeBron's one of the freaking wealthiest players in the world. People in the world, I guess I should even say. He doesn't really need the money. Now, if he wants to, I'm saying this in quotations, form another super team and join up Cleveland, would slightly be a good spot to do that because he would help them out a lot, and especially if they're not having to give up a lot to get him, it would help. But I also feel that there's a bit of a pride factor in which he's going to want to be there in something that he thinks is worth his value. So that's what's made this whole. Ooh, that's a good pat to get. This has made this whole LeBron offseason a question, and why I've kind of leads toward him probably going back to LA because they're probably going to be willing to give him that, as well as he's probably going to play this season and then next season. And then we're going to get next season the LeBron retirement tour. And this season is going to be the LeBron and Bronny tour. I don't know if Cleveland's going to be willing to draft Bronny. If he did, like I said, wherever Bronny goes, that's where the tension is going to go. We're going to do one more game. I'll add this other prize ball. And then we're going to open that pack that we just got. I will say that I did complete the collection for the Wild Wild West and got Jalen Green as a collection reward. So hopefully we get a different card, but I don't know at the moment. But like talking about LeBron, does he want money or does he want another championship? That's why I kind of am leaning towards thinking he's going to stay in LA because he probably doesn't want to leave. Let me backtrack because I keep forgetting something. He probably doesn't want to leave AD. LA, he probably doesn't want to leave LA because he made a big deal about, I'm here and all the other stuff that he wanted to do in LA. Granted, he's made 2-3 movies. There's probably a lot more movies that he can make. But he also probably wants LA to move on from D'Lo. Maybe Roy Hatchmore, maybe Jared Vanderbilt. He's probably all right with Austin Reeves being there. But what I'm trying to get at is he wants another star there. And something that I have constantly thought of and asked that never really gets any answers out of it is when LeBron has gone from LA, what the hell do they do with AD? Because what I was asking and thinking this last year, there was just a second star there, not a second guy to help AD. And we saw the main reason he left New Orleans is that he was not getting enough help. And when we're getting to that part, it'd probably be, I'm not going to say the last of AD's good days, but like the last of his prime. He'll probably have 2 to 3 years left of his prime once LeBron is retired. And some team would need to make use of that. And again, it's LA. They always have the benefit of being able to sign the free agents and players wanting to come there. Now they've slightly built up some assets to trade for a hypothetical third star. But I think LeBron probably wants that now. So I'm thinking towards everything being him staying in LA. But if he was to go on to a different team, take it as a good thing because that's just the change and chaos of the NBA. But everything is leaning towards me thinking that he's going to stay in LA, even though he went to that Cavs game and everybody's leaning towards him going back to the Cavs now. So there's my thought process with that. So the second round was a lot better last year, or this, I just completely messed up. A lot better this year than last year. The conference finals, we shall see what happens, because I'm not going to say they ended up being boring, the West, because it was a competitive sweep, as I almost burped into the microphone, and then the Eastern Conference erupted into chaos. It ended up being very good once we got to Game 6, which was just such a memorable game. And then Game 7 happened, and it kind of wiped everything away. And then the finals happened, and it was what it was. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I'm just extremely ready for the offseason. That way I could quit seeing. And this is I was going to make a Shoot the Breeze video last year if the Grizzlies ended up with a good draft pick. Not only did we fall in the draft lottery, but we got the 9th pick, and I'm just tired. And I reference Twitter a freaking lot. I'm tired of Twitter talking about Zach Edey every freaking 5 minutes on my time. I've seen way too much Zach Edey. Everybody wants Zach Edey. And before the lottery, we want Donovan Cleveland. I don't know a lot of players in this draft. I've said that time and time again because I've heard nothing that this is not a good draft and whatnot. Hopefully these guys could prove that it is a decent draft, but I'm ready for it to kind of like be the off-season free agent moves trades type of thing. And I was on this before the lottery. I'm 110% on it now. Just I would love it if we traded the pick. So I'm just ready for the off-season free agent trades. And it can't like I love watching basketball. I've been watching a lot of older stuff on YouTube. The Olympics are coming up, so I'm ready for that. So it's kind of makes me like, why are you rushing the end? Like, why are you rushing these good playoffs? But it's just me being bitter that my team's not there and wanting. I'm just tired of being patient and waiting to see what the hell we're going to do, type of thing. So that is the absolute best way to describe that. So, like I said, this is the second video this week. So I will tell y'all the planned videos. So Monday was Stadium Stampede. Tuesday is Shooting the Breeze. Wednesday, very rare. Not even that rare. So I'm looking at the exchange before. I prefer to get a Galaxy Opal player that I can finish this off. If not, we can add a pink diamond here. And then get another pink diamond and then do a Cerebral Deluxe. Who was the cheapest pink diamond? Let's look at this now. Just because I'm trying to entertain y'all. 21. I'm willing to spend that for y'all. What was I trying to get at? Wednesday, Supersonics. I was talking about we are going to wrap up the regular season. So y'all are going to potentially get 2 Supersonics episodes this week, with the first one being the wrap up of the regular season, and then this weekend being the start of the playoffs. So Wednesday should be Supersonics episode 9. Thursday will be my King and Queen predictions. Friday, ROH review. Saturday, Double or Nothing review. And then Sunday, the other Supersonics episode. So, what did I just say? We need to buy a pink diamond. I'm going to look again and hope that that this isn't the cheapest one. Was 21,000, but like I said, I'm willing to spend that for y'all just to end this on something good. Because I will say the original plan, I'm very want to be organized, and so it was very difficult for me because I was making this Shooting the Breeze regardless to catch up on the second round, talk about the conference finals before they take place, and then I never made a Shooting the Breeze during the second round, and then I've said "and then" a lot. I would have had 2 videos because I was originally going to do my King and Queen and Double or Nothing predictions together, but for the sake of more content, I'm going to split it up. I don't have another Galaxy Opal player. I'm not giving up Time Lord. So I need to give up Devin Booker. The only reason I have that Karl Malone card is because I really wanted to complete that duo set. I don't think I'm ever going to use either one of these cards. More so, I'm probably never going to use Belil Kubali. So, we're getting a Cerebral Deluxe. There's a Triple H joke in there somewhere. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have any. Where do I look my collection? I went to the wrong thing. I don't like grading cards, by the way. I like grading them at the very end of 2K. That way, my feelings, because if I grade a card and it's not a 10, it's just going to piss me off. It really is. So that's why none of my cards are graded. So I'm going to wait to the very end of 2K and grade a bunch of them and see, because I don't know the determination factor into getting a 10. I really don't. At some point, I might grade them. So I also just because I just realized that we had Jimmy Sohan. If I could get Dwight Howard, I'd be happy with that. If I can get Tim Duncan, I'd be happy with that. If I can get Paul George, I'd be happy with that. So, Joe Johnson as well. I didn't even see him. So, let's get to this pack opening, and then this video will be uploaded. Conference finals start tonight. Dun, 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 dun. Crazy, crazy week coming up. It's a holiday week. So, will we be getting Dwight Howard? We don't. I saw center. I'm never going to use this card. So that's how we're wrapping this video up. So hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully you like and subscribe. Have a safe week. Tune into the rest of the videos, hopefully. And I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.